Hello, I'm back. Watch as I strut across the red carpet on my grand return. I apologize, of course, typical delays with the videos and such, but don't worry, I'll probably have another video come out by the end of November. But then again, Hillary Clinton was probably going to be the next president, so I wouldn't hold your breath. Of course, why would I? I mean, it's yours to hold. Let's get started. This is the Nexus 6P. I've had this for a year now. Yes, a year. November 5th, 2015 was when I received my Nexus 6P, and November 12th, 13th, 2015 was when I received my replacement Nexus 6P, which just so happens to be this very one that, of course, you have the pleasure of seeing before your eyes. So this phone has been with me through some tough times. No, not really. Who am I kidding? I haven't been on any excursions as of late, at least, or ever, come to think of it. So not really, but it's been with me for a while, so I've gotten extremely used to it. In fact, I've gotten so used to it that the flat glass panel no longer perturbs me. But now that I think about it, and now that I'm mentioning it, it actually kind of does. Moving swiftly on. This is the lock screen. I flashed a zip file that changes the font. Well, spoiler, here's the home screen. It makes the font skinnier and Helvetica-ish because it is the Helvetica New Ultralight font. So that's how this occurs. You just flash it through your recovery, and I believe I've talked about this in length several times in the history of my life. And most of them have been captured on video and uploaded to this very YouTube channel. But yes, I'll repeat it because, of course, you likely haven't seen every single video of mine. But it's just a flashable zip file that allowed me to have this system-wide font that I use and I've kept on my device for forever. I enjoy ultralight fonts, so this works. I like modern fonts, so this works. And I like good-looking fonts, so this works. I recommend it. Helvetica New Ultralight. I'll have something in the description, likely a link. That would probably be pretty helpful. So it'll be down there. Okay, so let's look at the applications. Let's look at my settings. We'll go to About. I'm still on Android 7.0 and I'm on the September security patch. So I'm not quite up to date. I think 7.1.1 is out. I don't know if it's just the release previews or the actual 7.1.1 stable build is out. I don't know. I was browsing XDA today, and I think 7.1.1 is out. But I'm fine with my current state, my current software revision that I'm on. I haven't had any issues. I have everything, the way I want it to be. So I don't want to risk updating and losing root functionality, or even worse, end up having to factory reset my device because of my ineptitude. So we'll leave it at 7.0. I'll leave it at 7.0. You can leave it at whatever firmware you please on your phone. But I'm fine with 7.0, for now at least. If there's a compelling reason to update, I'll go through the laborious task of updating a 7.1.1 and whatever that entails. I've tried doing a titanium backup or whatever that is. Well, I know what it is. I'm not that inept. But I haven't been able to utilize it successfully. It's never worked for me, basically, so maybe I am more inept than I'm. But I've never had it work for me, so I'm probably doing something wrong. But yeah, 7.0, I'm fine with it. It's nice, fairly stable on my Elemental X kernel. Yes, I've had this for maybe a couple of days. I was using Franco kernel up until then, but since I bought EX Kernel Manager, which is one of the applications I have here, which allows me to manage my kernel. It's an in-specific kernel manager, meaning it doesn't need Elemental X, which is why I've been using it for Franco kernel, but it's ideal. I mean, you might as well. Like, don't use an off-brand Apple lightning cable. Well, you might as well. It's practically as effective. That analogy doesn't hold water in this case. Elemental X kernel, yeah, it's best paired with the Elemental X app manager, so might as well. This app costs, I believe, $4. This was the first Android app I purchased since I bought the phone. So it's, $4. It was $4, I believe. So it's more expensive than the kernel itself, which is free, of course. But it was $4 well spent. I mean, it allows you to alter virtually everything. And by virtually everything, I mean everything having to do with the kernel. So it's a nice app. I recommend it. Is my voice a bit more mucusy than it usually is? I don't know. That might be on my end, or it might be on your end. Well, it's by default on my end because I mentioned it, but I don't know if it's on your end. And I don't know if the microphone is doing a decent job of masking. Oh my god, that is ugly. This is the home screen, first page. I have the time. This is the pixel launcher. I flashed a zip file because I believe before you had to flash a zip file to get Google Now functionality. I'm unsure of the installation method that is currently in use, or the current. Oh, why is talking so frustrated? The current. Oh my god, where was it? I flashed it. Okay, you can install an APK via the Google Play Store, which is probably the easier thing to do. So you can go that route. But way back when, you had to flash it via zip file to get most of the functionality. My main complaint is the fact that it lags a bit when you flip over to Google Now. Okay, I said Google Now. Was that what triggered it, or did I? Whatever. For some reason, I feel as if this is a unique issue for me and that nobody else is experiencing this. Console me in the comments by letting me know that this isn't just my phone doing this, but it bugs me. It's like a skipped frame every time you... But this is A-okay, of course. So here is... I think that my phone, my user interface setup has changed substantially since last time I made a video like this. Because before I only had one home screen page, but now I've expanded that to 2 because I just wanted to have this music widget here for convenience, even though I never end up using it. It's just nice looking at the album artwork when flicking through my home screen. It makes it seem slightly more animated. I don't know. Well, I do know because I just explained that to you. What was I gonna... Oh, Flux. I have this thing on. This is the reason that my screen is tinted like this is because after sunset, the color temperature of my display is calibrated to go to, I believe, 3400 Kelvin, which is ideal to prevent eye strain before you go to bed. So let's go to where is it? Let's turn it off. I don't need it for this at least. What was the application? Oh, CF Lumen, right? Let's turn that off. No thanks. So here are the applications on my first page. These are the most important ones that I use on a nearly daily basis, unless I say otherwise. We have Google Maps. Yeah, useful. And I have Google Allo, which is Google's current answer to iMessage. It's okay. I like how you can change the text size to heighten emphasis, but Google's iMessage app is leaps and bounds beyond it anyway. Then we have the Weather Channel, my favorite weather app. I mean, it's typically the most accurate. It's no frills. I mean, there we go. Oh man, nice. Yeah, this fall has been surprisingly mild. Look at that. Only a couple of days above 80 degrees, or 80 and above. Look, that's nice, really. I mean, over the past few autumns, we've had temperatures regularly be in the mid to upper 80s throughout much of November. So it's nice that this fall has been a bit different and a bit cooler than usual. Hopefully this carries over into winter. No, go away. YouTube is the next application. I use it pretty regularly. I think that's self-explanatory. Then we have Google Inbox, my preferred email client that I've used for the past few years, ever since it was introduced. No complaints, no frills, again, very simple. Then we have Play Store, the Google Play Store, the Google Camera application, which is standard, if not substandard, but it's the stock one, so. And I don't use my camera frequently enough to justify getting another camera app. Well, actually, no, I have another camera app. We'll look at that soon. I installed that because I needed to record a video with better controls, so we'll get to that later, if we get to that later. Then we have VLC, of course, my media player of choice, followed by Spotify. I wouldn't say it's my music player of choice because it's not. I just use it occasionally. If there's a new album that I want to stream before I get, then I go ahead and do it through that. Then we have Instagram, of course, self-explanatory. Follow me at EvilNinjas99. Okay. WhatsApp, I use this more often than I do my Messenger app or Allo, so it's virtually perfect. I don't have any complaints. Then we have Kick. I don't use this that often. I don't even know why it's on my first page. I just needed to fill it up, I suppose. I could have probably done it with another application. Why did I put that one there? I don't use it. Questions are best left unanswered. There's a tip you never hear from anybody, probably because it's a really crappy tip. Then we have Settings, followed by Keep, followed by Twitter. I use Keep a lot. Keep has my agenda, has lists I create, arbitrary lists of my favorite albums or songs or things like that, things that nobody cares about except me. Then we have Twitter, of course. I have the other Twitter client on the other page. We'll get to that. But this is the one I use more often because it's Twitter's own API. So, direct messages can be group messages. You can have you can have groups for direct messages and things like that you can't do through a third-party Twitter client. Then we have Root Browser, followed by Calculator. Second page. There we go. Then we have Shazam, which comes in handy sometimes for radio. Then we have CPU-Z for monitoring CPU speeds. My SoC is overclocked. I have the big cores at 2.05 gigahertz and the little cores at 1.71. I notice an incremental advantage, but it probably comes at the expense of more battery life than I'd like to admit. But there you go. Snapdragon 810, it's a middling SoC. Of course, the 821 is now the standard. Everybody would love to get a Google Pixel, but not everybody has $750. So, there's that. 810 is okay. It's very battery inefficient, but you get used to it after a year. And, so what? You carry an external battery pack with you. It's slightly embarrassing, but you sort of get over it after a while. Then we have CCleaner, which is okay. It's not as good as its Windows counterpart, but hey, no complaints. Then you have Yelp, a wonderful application that allows you to read what pretentious people think about food, which is nice until you realize that you might be one of those pretentious people. And then it's no longer funny. Then you have Wolfram Alpha, which allows you to do a lot of calculus problems that you don't feel like doing by yourself. Because you lack the effort or the knowledge, or both. Yeah. Then we have Speed Test, an application that I use very infrequently. I find myself being less and less interested in monitoring network speeds, so maybe that's a sign of maturity. I don't know. Then we have HBO Go, which is a decent application. It's not fantastic in terms of UX and user-friendly design, but it gets the job done, and it's the only way that you can watch HBO Go on your smartphone. You could probably watch shows through the Chrome browser, but that would probably be worse. So you're probably better off just downloading the mediocre app. Then we have Google Docs, which I am using more often this year than I have any other year, because I have one English teacher that loves it. Shout out to my English teacher. And it's very efficient too. Using Google Drive and Google Docs for school assignments is incredibly more efficient than doing it through any other means. So I don't know why it's not more utilized. Then we have Viper for Android, which is for me the most essential Android modification that has ever existed. It transforms headphones, basically. I've used them for Apple EarPods now because now unfortunately, I've resorted to using those because I've managed to lose my actually decent headphones. And Viper for Android works wonders for them. The EarPods sound decent to good with Viper for Android, whereas they would sound absolutely just treacherous, really. I can't... I'm speechless when I think about the EarPods stock audio quality. But with Viper for Android, they're bearable. So I can vouch for Viper for Android. If that doesn't sound like a recommendation or a glowing testimonial, I don't know what does. And then we have Flamingo, which is the other Twitter client. It's not as functional, but there's a night mode that I prefer to Twitter's, because you can make the user interface all black, which is something you can't even do with Twitter. Their night mode is just like some navy blue / gray, which is not night mode. This is night mode. Sorry for this. This is actually a mod I'll get to soon. Looks like a pretty crummy mod, but you'll see its purpose soon. Then we have Geekbench 4. I don't use this that often. I don't know why it's there. And then we have Weatherbug, which for me is very accurate because it uses a how's the name escaping me? A weather thing. Oh, no. It uses some, oh my god, I can't believe I forgot what it's called. You know, a weather thing. Something that processes current weather conditions. It has one of those. It's a weather station. Oh, Christ almighty. There's a weather station situated next to a middle school that I am right next to, so it's pretty accurate information because I'm very close to it. I'm like a 5-6 minute walk away from the weather station, so it's as accurate as weather can get, aside from having a weather station that is less than 5 to 6 minutes in walking distance. Alright, that's it for my home screen, so we'll go to the thing here. So we have AccuWeather, which is pretty decent. Allo, Amazon Shopping, Ampere, which allows me to monitor my battery. Okay, sure. Allows you to measure how quickly your battery is charging when it is charging, which is good because I have a couple of modifications installed. Well, I have one in particular that I'll get to soon that allows me to speed up charging, which is nice. Okay, so it's discharging at 190 milliamps. So, okay. Back. So it's a useful application, and it's free. All it needs is root access. Then we have Android Pay, something I still have no use for. Then we have Backdrops, which has quite a few nice wallpapers. It used to be my wallpaper app before the Google Pixel launcher had its own wallpaper chooser. But it still has some very, very decent wallpapers that I probably will use from time to time. I mean, this one is pretty fitting. Seasonally fitting, so I might use that. Oh, who am I kidding? I like this wallpaper because it's urban, and I like that. Moving on. Calculator, mentioned. Calendar. With this launcher, the calendar icon is actually breathing. It's a living icon. It changes based on the day. So it's the 19th, so it shows 19. Camera, Google camera, of course, blah. CCleaner, CF Lumen, we've been through that. It changes the color temperature depending on the time of day. I recommend it. It's free, but it requires root access. Of course, all the good things require root access, so maybe you should just take the hint and root your phone. Next. We have Clock. It's okay. Then we have Does Not Commute, I think. You know, it's a plan, does not compute, plan words. It's a fun game, but it's nothing special, quite honestly. Then we have Contacts. I don't really keep contacts on my phone, I just memorize people's phone numbers. Okay, moving on, as if that's not slightly odd. CPU-Z, device policy, digital clock. There's the Xperia clock widget that I no longer use because I'm using this that's embedded into... not embedded, but it's part of Google's suite of widgets. Moving on, display tester. It's nice for testing out colors on the display. I mentioned that in a video I did maybe a month. No. I mentioned that in a video I did like a year ago, so get with it. Oof, I'm kidding. This is all in jest. Then we have Docs, Download, Drive, Edmodo, which is something I use for school. It's like Facebook for school. It's okay, but I can use some. It's fairly unintuitive, honestly. Google Classroom is probably better. I don't know much about it, but by default it already sounds better. I mean, Google is the head of it, so automatically it's better. And people say I'm an Apple fanboy. Ha! EX Kernel Manager, F-Droid, which I forgot what this is. Yeah, it allows you to install modifications. It's fairly useless for me because I haven't really installed anything through it. But, you know, it's there. It's a less capable Expose framework module thing. Expose isn't updated for Android 7.0, so it's the next best modification center. So, but it's still not that good. It's leaps and bounds below. What's it called? The thing I was just talking about. Oh, what happened to my memory? It's one of my best things. Then we have Facetune, followed by Flamingo. Facetune, of course, editing app, allows you to make your selfies look nice, but I don't use it that often anymore, just because I rely less on it. That checks out logically. Of course it does. Then skipping a few applications, we can make this quicker, right? InstaFollow allows you to check who unfollows you on Instagram, so you can give them a nice obligatory unfollow right back. It's nice because you follow people you really don't want to follow because you don't like their photos. And then when they finally unfollow you, then it's morally correct for you to unfollow them back. Half the people I follow, I don't really want to. It's more of a courtesy thing. It's like an unwritten rule. It's unfortunate that we have those, right? Maybe they're unwritten for a reason, because they aren't actually rules. That might make more sense. Yeah, that's how the government works too. I mean, the rules are written down somewhere, so maybe the ones that aren't written down are not rules by default then. I think I'm having an epiphany. Instagram is right next to that application. Then we have Keep, Kick, Lucky Patcher, which allows you to circumvent in-app purchases if used correctly. Then we have Maps, followed by Mega, which allows you to install Mega files from, mega.co.nz, something like that. Then we have Messenger, my preferred SMS/MMS client of choice. I prefer it over Hangouts because, and solely because, it is more colorful than Hangouts is. Okay, next. Then we have MIT AI2 Companion, which is a complement to MIT App Inventor, which allows you to invent applications through some client that allows you to use assets to create apps with little to no coding know-how. So, yeah, I don't use it selectively. It's something I have to do for school. So I don't have to do it for school. It's just something I courteously do for school to receive something called a passing grade. We have news and weather, followed by NOAA weather, which is great for, radar, but not for much else. Then we have Common App On Track, which allows you to just browse the status, or just view the status, not browse, wrong word. View the statuses of various college applications that you submit or have yet to submit. So, yeah, it's that time of the year and that time of my life. Then we have Open Camera, which is the application, the camera app I was talking about. Open Sesame. There we go. It's okay. It's more flexible, so that's why I use it. Alright, that's enough of mindlessly tapping at the screen. There we go. Hopefully exposure goes back to normal. And exposure is back to normal. So, back to, then we have phone photo. Okay, let's only explain the apps I need to explain. We have, Quizlet, you know what that is. Relay Pro, which is my Reddit client of choice. If you've seen my other videos, you know that. It's far and away my favorite. Nothing even comes close, in my opinion. So, there we go. Give it a download. This is the pro version. It costs, I think, $3. Well worth it, really, because I use it every single day. So, it might as well be a good application, and that it is. And then we have Google Opinion Rewards, which gives you free Google Play credit for answering surveys. So you can accumulate like $8 in credit over the course of like 6 months, which is nice. Yeah, it's not that significant, but when you think about it, that's not that significant. Then we have Root Browser. We'll get into that soon to look at the zip files that I have installed. Then we have Schooled, probably. It lets you look at colleges and of which ones are best suited for you. I found it to be mainly useless, so I don't use it. It's just on my device. Then we have a screen filter, which allows me to artificially lower the brightness of my display without modding my phone or, installing a mod that does that, because I've just never had the inclination to do it when I had an app that already did it for me that just required an installation from the Google Play Store, so that's what I did. Settings, right. Going back to just talking about applications that I need to explain. I have Solid Explorer, but it's only like a 2-week trial, and I think that's long overdue, so that's why I use Root Browser, even though Root Browser is not as visually striking, and I put that in loose quotes. So, yeah. Well, look, let's see if it gives me some sort of notification. Yeah, trial period is over. Why do the trial period? It's a good app. Just make it a good free app. It'd be in the top 40 on the charts. Just do that, right? I mean, you need to have fame and fortune. Come to think of it, that was a stupid thing to say. Of course, I'd rather have fame and fortune than just fame. All right, speed. Did that already. Super Su, Super SU. It's Super SU, not Super Su. If it was Super Su, then the U would be lowercase. Super SU, because it's an initialism. I have 2 versions of Viper for Android for some inexplicable reason. I just use the one with the blue icon. Then we have VLC, of course. VShare, which allows you to get paid apps for free. It's okay. I don't have one app on my phone that I've used VShare with, so it's just there. So I look like I pirate stuff, but I really haven't pirated anything on my phone. It's sort of like a fake, I'm a faux badass, let's put it that way. That almost sounds cooler than being an actual badass until you realize that it doesn't. Then we have a weather timeline, which is okay. And that's it. Those are all the apps that I need to explain. But that's what's on my phone in terms of apps. Let's go to my storage. We'll see how much storage I have left. I have a 64 gigabyte device, and I've only used 18.7. I used to store music files on my phone. I didn't use to store them. I just downloaded them via Google Play Music. That is storing them, but I used to do that, but now I just rely on a data connection, and I just stream all of my music because it's more, it's not as hard drive resourceful. Hard drive. This uses eMMC flash, right? It's not as flash hogging, so I don't store them locally because I'm always connected to LTE or Wi-Fi, so streaming is the way to go. And I don't really mind occasionally dipping into 192 kilobits per second on Spotify if I need to. So there we go. I guess I've matured in that way too, by devolving, by tolerating music that is less than 320 kilobits per second. That's a way of evolving. It shows maturity as well. I feel like I'm just making that up for some reason. Is being less pretentious more mature, or is being more pretentious more mature? That's a question for the ages. He says, semi-satisfied with himself until he realizes who he actually is. Now let's go into Google Play Music. I use my phone to listen to music more often than I do anything else, which is a bit ironic, considering the Nexus 6P's DAC is notoriously horrible. But, you win some, you lose everything. Here's the main page of Google Play Music, which has changed. It's been revamped design-wise. It looks nice. I like it. But that's it. That's all that's changed with this recent update. Everything else looks identical, which is unfortunate, because this could use a bit of a makeover. I mean, it's okay, but, it could. I don't like how this looks, because it's, zoomed in artwork, I'm tired of it. We need something different. I'm the spokesperson for everybody that owns an Android device with Google Play Music, or an iOS device with Play Music for that matter. This is Only Shallow by My Bloody Valentine from their 1991 record, Loveless. It's probably my second favorite MBV song, behind Sometimes, of course, naturally. That's a pretty generic thing to think, but there you go. I guess that's it. That's a bit underwhelming. Overall, how am I feeling with this device? It's been a year or so. I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, battery life is standard. It's zippy, still zippy. Snapdragon 810 isn't slowing down, especially with the modifications I have. So the main modification that I have is called X Thermal Mod. I'll leave the XDA forum link in the description, of course. And it allows you to charge your device remotely more quickly than you're able to with stock. By stock, I don't know. With stock, it's not a kernel. It's just a modification. I'm unsure exactly how it works, but instead of charging my device at, the standard 1800 milliamps, with the modification installed, I can charge my phone at 1890 milliamps, which is slightly faster. Again, it doesn't seem like a sizable difference, but it's faster. Faster is faster, so it's worth installing for that reason alone. Even if it was 15 milliamps instead of 1800, it's still faster. And there aren't any adverse effects that come with installing the mod, so you might as well do it. Well, maybe it has some long-term battery consequences, but let's face it, long-term with the Nexus 6P, it's already showing its age. I'm kidding. I love this phone to bits, despite my numerous critiques with the phone. It still has a place in my heart and in my pocket. Nice tagline. That was impromptu. What else do I have? Right, well, the other mod, quote unquote, the other mod I have is the kernel. We'll go into EX Kernel Manager so we can see what's up there. CPU, I have the interactive CPU governor for both clusters. Here are my settings. Don't screw around with these CPU options because it really stifles your device's performance because it's very, very finicky. So I'd advise you not to. I did that a couple of times. Reverting the settings is pretty arduous because you have to install the stock kernel, then reinstall the Elemental X kernel, and then wipe your Dalvik cache, and then hope that everything pans out. And even then, it's not guaranteed. So just don't mess around with that. That's my advice for you. Next, we have graphics. Just leave it be. I just install Elemental X so I can have more flexibility, like potential flexibility. I don't use it for anything necessarily right now, except for overclocking, because that's how I overclocked my device to 2.05 gigahertz for the big cluster. But that is it. That's my device. I enjoy it. Everything is fine. It's snappy. I don't see myself upgrading anytime soon because I'm going to stubbornly stay on a firmware that works for me. So that's it. Oh, wait, no, one more. Remember when my nav bar was gray and it seemed out of place? That was because of a mod that usually works well, but for that application it was kind of wonky. It's called, what is it? It's a nav bar mod. Again, I'll leave the link in the description so you don't have to go searching for it because it might not be the easiest thing to look up. Navbar mod. Well, no. Granted, you could probably still find it if you just Google Navbar mod 6P, but I'll leave a link in the description because it'd be mean not to. So for applications, the navbar matches the rest of the theme. So for Google Keep, for example, it's yellow, so the navbar is yellow. I'm not showing you the main page of Google Keep because there's some personal stuff in there, like passwords for things. So let's not go there. Let's go to another application like YouTube. Okay, let's do YouTube. See, this looks nice, I think. Red. It looks better, objectively. It evens out the display too. That's basically what it does. I don't need to explain. I don't need to justify it. If you like its purpose, go ahead and install it. It's a flashable zip, so you flash it via your custom recovery. And yeah, I like it. It Androidifies my Android device. There we go. I'm just coming up with these taglines free of charge. You're at complete liberty, mod developers, to use these taglines. I won't bring it to court. No lawsuit required. You can use them. Fine by me. That's where we'll end it. This was unnecessarily long, like most of my videos. But if you stuck around until the end, thank you. I appreciate you for having listened to me for like X amount of minutes. That's it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you have an Nexus 6P, good for you. It's a pretty nice phone, and I'm sure you know that. Of course, it has quirks, but every phone does. Yeah, let's turn it over. That's usually what I do at the end of these videos. So, you've just been Even as 99. I'll probably make a video next weekend. It's Thanksgiving break, so I'll have time. Yeah, I'll catch you in the next one then. And that will be next week. Most likely. Probably. There's a 98.1% chance. Alright, that's enough.